Is my relationship over with my so? I have been dating my so for about 18 years now, and we were planning to get married on paper, once COVID is officially behind us. However, we've been going through a rough patch this year, and as a result my so moved out, and it just doesn't seem like I can do anything to patch our relationship issues, and I'm turning to strangers on the internet for some advice. For background, we met in high school and we've been dating ever since. I always knew she is the one for me, and I will always love her and our beautiful son. We've clearly had our ups and downs throughout our relationship, and in most cases we talk through it and make up over time. However, my so has always been the type who keeps all the small stuff vented up inside of her, and over time all of this comes out when there is a major triggering point. I'm the type that doesn't hold back and says things as is, so I don't keep stuff inside of me, and I always communicate how I feel, whether good or bad. I work as an investment banker, so I work very long hours, and she's always been supportive of this and my career growth. She understood that I couldn't spend a lot of time with her, and over time, she's found other ways to go vacation and attend events with her friends, and we were able to make this work. Recently, we've had one of those triggering moments which I don't believe was grounds for separation, but it ultimately did lead to it. To break it down, my so forgot to take her bag with her to work, which contained her wallet and our house key. When she got home from work, she could not get into our house because she didn't have the key. I happened to be attending a friend's birthday event after work that day, but she calls me up and asks me to come home right away to let her in as she's waiting at the house. Now there was some miscommunication here, because I'm pretty sure I asked if she could wait at our friend's house nearby and I can be home in a bit to let her in, so I thought I had a little bit more time to speak to my friends before I head out. 30 minutes later she calls and asks me where I am, and she's been waiting at the house all this time. I told her I'm leaving right away, and of course there's a lot of traffic and it takes me over an hour to get home. She's pissed at this point, and she doesn't care about the miscommunication. All she cares is that she forgot her key and I didn't come home right away to let her into the house. She comments how I'm no longer a priority in her life and I'd rather spend time with my friends over her. All hell breaks loose and everything I've done wrong comes out in the past over the next few weeks. She also commented that she doesn't find me attractive anymore. She doesn't love me anymore like she used to, and our relationship doesn't feel like other married couples who can rely on each other. She felt we were more like mutual partners as we kept separate finances, which we agreed to do, whereas others have joint bank accounts. She felt financial burdened because of this, paying 50-50 as I made more money than her, which is fair, but I wish she suggested it earlier on than brushing it off and bringing it up later on. She wanted me to take more care of my health by visiting the doctors for annual checkups and when I get sick. And overall, she doesn't feel we are compatible anymore. And with it she moved out one random day when I was at work. She didn't want to reconcile and she wanted to separate. Her friends say that I should give her some space, but I don't think it's really working out because she's reached out to me for divorce this month and now they are saying that I should move on. She doesn't want anything from me but wants to move on with her life, but we'd mutually take care of our son. I gave her space for about 2 months and we'd only communicate when it involved our son and ignores me on all other topics. She doesn't want to go on dates and doesn't want gifts but just want to move on. I've suggested we go to counseling together, but she doesn't want any part of it, and at this point I'm not sure what I can do but wait and hope she'll come around. It's been a rough year and I've been so struck by this, and it's been hard to recover and so confused as to where I go from here. So and I have been dating for 18 years and we have a son we love. So has the tendency to hold small grudges over time and blow up when we have a large argument. We recently had an argument which resulted in every prior issues we had coming out. She didn't want to reconcile and wanted to separate. She moved out and now wants to consider divorce. As a guy, I'm so confused on what to do and where to go from here. Now for the top comments. This may be completely off the mark, apologies if that's the case. Reading your post and replies, Your relationship seems to have been quite lopsided in your favor for a while. You write how she supported your career, how your finances are divided 50-50 even though you make more. You wrote nothing about supporting her. Even the last straw was you at your friend's birthday party alone, supporting your friend. Your career is demanding, she supported you, understood and was left to entertain herself. Taking holidays alone, going to many events alone is fine for a while, you get your partner's career etc., but then it starts to suck being the only not single person without their partner. And then you get used to it, and then you stop missing your partner's presence. I also don't know if these small grudges are so small. You say that she tends to keep the small stuff vented inside, and then erodes during a large argument. But how does she keep them inside, if you're aware of these grudges from the begin with? You've had a difficult year per your post, so you were not unaware of her issues in the relationship. Is it that you just assumed you had dealt with issues, when they hadn't been dealt with? I think you would benefit from a bit of soul-searching, digging and being honest with yourself. Was her leaving so out of left field? Or have you been doing the bare minimum, concentrating on your career, friends etc., and she has been left alone, fending for herself, feeling lonely? Next comment. Sounds like you're done to me. Probably have been for a while, you just never noticed. Of course she fell out of love with you. You can't love someone who isn't there. If you're working so much that she's even taking vacations alone, then that isn't much of a relationship to me. You may think things were fine and this came out of nowhere, but that's only because up until now you had your cake and was eating it too. You made your career the priority over your family, yet still had a loving partner when you got home. She had an empty house and had to act as a glorified single parent. Then, she finally asked you to make her a priority for once and you told her you were too busy partying to be there for her. It doesn't matter if you asked her to go to a friend's or not. She needed you and you yet again chose something else. I bet cash these actions aren't as sudden and out of nowhere as you think. She's probably been considering this for a while now. You had other priorities and never noticed. She's finally tired of not being high enough on the list of importance. Her friends are telling you to move on because they know she didn't make a snap decision. She's been talking about this for a while and just finally pulled the trigger. Next comment. She felt unheard, unloved and obviously alone. When you feel lonely in a relationship, it's already doomed. This 50-50 rule doesn't work financially when one of your partner earns twice or more than you. This 50-50 is for the efforts you put into the relationship. You have a child together and a house and you expect that 50-50 rule to work fine financially. This is something only a misogynistic guy or a stingy guy would agree to. No men or women in their right mindset would believe this would work well financially if one of them is better off. As for her feelings, from your comments and post it's clear she's done. She didn't just randomly decide to divorce you. It's been eating her up all this time when you ignored her and prioritized your work more than her emotional needs. I mean, who even goes for holidays and events alone when you have a partner and a child? She was absolutely lonely and felt unsupported. Obviously this sounds more like mutual partners than actual married couples. Couples go together and do things together. You didn't invite her to your events, why should she? Even in the comments, not once did you mention you want to reconcile with her because of the love you have for her. Instead, you wrote for your son only. In the other comment, you bought her a LV bag in order to win her back. What boomer suggested you this idea? Looks like the only reason you both lasted was due to her not giving up on you. She understood that I couldn't spend a lot of time with her. How else do you think people bond over if you don't have the time to spare for them? How else do people make memories together if they don't spend time together? It's the little things that matter. Twice you talked about paying for the house but not once about what you actually did for the one you call so. Emotional fulfillment is the secret to long-lasting and happy relationships. When will people realize this? Even if you move on and find someone else, It's not gonna last until you have realized that time is what we lack and that's the only thing that's precious to us. Spend time with your loved ones. When you die, your HR will post a job opening for the position you take so much pride in. Sort out your priorities first. I hate to be that person who suggests get back together, but this is the first time I'll say this. If you really want her back, like really, then you must make her your priority. Make your tiny family a priority. You are already a banker. Your career isn't gonna go downhill if you put your family's emotional needs first and actually work to make things work. You can't just sit and wait for her to come back. She's not your pet. She's an individual who has her own thoughts and self-esteem. I can see hope, but only if you really tried hard to understand her emotions and needs instead of blaming her. But if you only want to stay for your son, please do her a favor and sign the divorce papers. Next comment. Bro, what are you saying? If she's the most important thing in your life, don't give up on her so easily. Did you even try to your fullest to satisfy some of her requests, needs? I read you saying that you respect her decision if divorced, but if you love her that much, try to find a solution midway. The problem is clearly her missing her partner, you. You said it yourself that you prioritized your job. Eventually, is making money so important that you'll give up the love of your life? Do you want your son to grow in this broken environment, you being divorced? You could try to change job in something that leaves more free time for your family. If you keep doing this, you'll lose them. Money and gifts can't fix relationships. Also, try to talk with her. Tell her how much you love her, how important she is to you, and to give you another chance, but most of all that she and your son will be your priority and you'll actually listen to her. Be open to her critics and try to understand their meaning, and if you don't understand, then ask her. Might add things later. Remember to show her acts of wanting to get better. The smallest thing are what makes a relationship happy. Though if you wanna really show her, this time, you have to do something bigger, like changing job and so time for your family. Another thing, a reminder actually. Money don't fix problems. Talking out problems, understanding each other and finding a solution together helps. Next comment. I mean, she laid it out quite clearly. She doesn't feel like you're actually partners and says all the reasons why. You don't put her first in your life. You don't merge finances, so your intense focus on your job can't even be justified with doing it for the family. You also mentioned in a comment many examples of you not making her a priority. Those things build up over time because you don't fix them. They keep coming up because you still don't make her a priority. You say you think you can work it out, but the time to do that was all the time she brought it up in the past. Now she's fully done. All you can do is be there for her as a co-parent and fully be there for her and your child, and hope she can start talking about reconciling. Next comment. I think you have gotten a lot of solid advice here, but I just wanted to put in my 2 cents on finances in a partnership where one person makes a lot more. A 50-50 split is not fair in a partnership where one person makes much more than the other person. It can easily lead to resentment of the one partner makes less, because their half of the bills ends up hurting their pockets a lot more. In these instances, an equitable split based on each partner's earnings is fair. I'm a PhD student and my boyfriend works in trading. If I was paying half of his mortgage and the bills, I would never have agreed to move in, especially since he owns the house. Our split is more like 80-20 and it works for us. My boyfriend is happy to have a bit of help with the bills which he would be paying anyways, and I'm happy because I would pay more in rent elsewhere. When I start working full-time this year and will make substantially more, we will revisit the conversation. Sorry that this ended up being a point of contention in your relationship, but in the future I would consider a more equitable structure to who pays, which evolves over time as your financial circumstances change. Next comment. In your example, if your boyfriend offered to pay the entire mortgage, let's say $8,000 a month, and you lived rent-free at his house, but asked you to split the general expenses 50-50, utilities, groceries, travel expenses, etc., which adds up to, let's say, $3,000 a month. Would you be okay with this, or would you expect him to also pay all of the general expenses too because you are a student and he's making money as a trader? Is this the norm of all relationships? Even prior to buying our house, I've been paying 100% of the rent since we moved in together. I've never asked her to cover for the rent, and when I bought our dream home, I put her name on our house as well with no recourse because I knew she was the one for me. If it's important to share, like you, we were up until last year when we signed the papers to be legally married with the birth of our son, and we couldn't hold a marriage ceremony due to COVID. Am I really wrong here on this in taking advantage of her? Numerically, it's clearly not 50-50, but a lot of comments are assuming it's 50-50. This really isn't where I wanted the comments to diverge to, but I guess my original post wasn't clear on any of this. It's more the fact that I've made a lot of mistakes in my relationship which I've noted, and based on all the comments, this relationship isn't salvageable even if I make changes to my lifestyle. The right thing to do here is to respect her decision. Next comment. I have been in a relationship for 7 years now and I am just waiting for the new year to end it. Because of the same reasons mentioned in other posts. For a man it may seem like small things, but to me they were not small. He never told me randomly that he liked or loved me. Never gave me even one flower. My Valentine's gift is a $3 plush from Walmart. I don't care about the price, I care about the thought, and clearly he failed at that. Doesn't text me through the day. Never goes anywhere with me, or do nice things like watch a movie or cook together. No cuddles, hugs or kisses. Doesn't help to care for the dogs and only helps in the house if I start cleaning first. I have got tired of telling him what I want, which is not a lot. He does it for like a week and goes back to his old ways. Now I don't bother anymore. Sometimes people fail in the easy parts. As for your situation, your best bet is to give her time and start showing her she is definitely still a priority for you. That's no guarantee she will come back, but at least you would have tried. Good luck. Next comment. She may be totally done and reconciliation may not be possible. The only shot you have at making this work is making it clear that you understand her grievances and have a plan to fix things. I think the main issue is that you failed to adapt. You made a deal at the beginning but didn't reevaluate when life circumstances changed. When you get your first well-paying job, when you have a child, when you buy a house, you need to stop and ask yourself if the way you're doing things still makes sense. It sounds like things have become lopsided. She agreed to prioritize your career as you were getting established, and somewhere along the way you got used to being the priority. I think you need to do some soul searching about how you could make things more balanced if she were to give you another chance. Next comment.